Did the U.S. military deploy a secret sonic weapon during the raid in Venezuela? According to witnesses on the ground, the operation began with an unexplained radar blackout, followed massive drone swarm and the sounds of helicopters. Despite being outnumbered 5-1, the small U.S. Special Forces team faced less resistance. Why? Reports indicate soldiers suffered from vertigo, vomiting, and internal bleeding. Military analysts believe this was a soft kill operation, likely utilizing a high-power microwave device. More detail all in the video ahead. Based on witness testimony, here's how the event likely occurred. Venezuelan soldiers were on standard guard duty when their radar systems suddenly shut down without warning. Immediately after the blackout, a massive drone swarm appeared over the facility, followed by 8 helicopters equipped with unidentified technology. A 20-man team of Delta and Special Forces operatives deployed from the helicopters. The encounter took a mysterious turn when the defending force of 100 soldiers reportedly froze, leaving them unable to compete with a smaller elite team. Witnesses noted that the Delta Force operatives fired with impossible precision, estimating a rate of fire near 300 rounds per minute per soldier. It is theorized that Black Hawk helicopters were used to deploy this capability, utilizing disc-shaped radar attachments to launch a directed beam at the opposing troops. They reported internal trauma. They suffered immediate vestibular incapacitation, meaning a total loss of balance and paralysis. Some even reported bleeding from the nose and vomiting blood, symptoms consistent with internal hemorrhaging. While the Pentagon hasn't officially disclosed the specific hardware, military experts often call this a soft kill system. So how does it actually work? To understand the weapon, you first have to look at what it did. The most likely candidate for a weapon that creates that kind of internal pressure without external sound is a high-power microwave device. It relies on something called the Fray effect. The weapon, probably carried by a Chinook or a Black Hawk helicopter, fires a focused beam of pulsed microwave energy, not sound waves, that passes right through the skull. These beams are absorbed by the water in the brain tissue and the fluid in the inner ear. This energy causes a minuscule rapid heating of the tissue, less than 1 degree Celsius. But that tiny sudden expansion generates a pressure wave inside the skull. The consequence? The target hears a sound, clicks, buzzing, or a roar that originates inside their own head, bypassing the eardrums entirely. If the frequency is tuned to the resonance of the inner ear, it violently disrupts the body's balance, causing immediate vertigo. At higher power levels, that rapid tissue expansion can rupture capillaries, leading to the reported nosebleeds and internal trauma. There is another possibility, a weaponized infrasonic pulse emitter. Instead of a continuous beam, this device would fire high-intensity slugs of low-frequency air pressure below 20 Hz. These waves travel through the body to match the resonant frequency of internal organs like the stomach or lungs. High-intensity infrasound can actually cause cavitation, the formation of bubbles in bodily fluids. When those bubbles collapse, they create tiny shockwaves that damage tissue. The target feels an intense vibration in their gut, leading to severe nausea and effectively paralyzing them with pain and sickness. Tactically, the reports suggest U.S. forces use this technology as the ultimate force multiplier. The result was that the hundreds of Venezuelan guards mentioned in the reports weren't fought in a traditional gun battle. They were incapacitated, sick, dizzy, and bleeding, long before U.S. troops made contact. This allowed a small team of approximately 20 operators to walk virtually unopposed through a much larger force. But that's not it. The U.S. military has another secret weapon. Analysts called it the Iron Dome of the Caribbean. They said the airspace over Venezuela was impenetrable, locked down by the Russian-made S-300 anti-system, a beast capable of swatting aircraft out of the sky from 150 miles away. But in the dark night, the myth of invincibility didn't just crack, it evaporated. The opening salvo didn't come from pilots, but from physics. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford, stationed off the coast, unleashed a barrage of electronic warfare so dense it didn't just jam the Venezuelan radar screens, it burned them white. The S-300 operators at Captain Manuel Rios Air Base were blind before they ever saw the missiles coming. The first kinetic strikes were surgical from a destroyer. 2 Tomahawk cruise missiles slammed into the S-300VM radar arrays. In an instant, the eyes of the Venezuelan defense network were turned into twisted, red-hot scrap metal. Precision-guided bombs walked down the flight line. One by one, the Su-30s and the aging X-16s parked beside them were engulfed in fireballs. 7 jets were erased before their pilots could even reach the ladders. It wasn't a dogfight, it was an execution.
Shalom, Kolim La, Yahawah Hashem, Yahawashi. What's up, Divine Citadels of GMS, and on the Suakim. Peace and blessings to you, brothers and sisters that listen. The Church of the Firstborn, Hopeful Elect. Kolim La, Yahawah Shem Shai. And I do this video to the power of Yahawah Shem Shai. Posted in a community post a couple of days ago, but they got more information coming out now on what Aisha did, man, in Venezuela and the weapons that he used, proving this man was blessed with the sword. I'm gonna read that precept Revelation, the 6th chapter. Man, this is this man's gift, man. And them people in Venezuela, that army didn't stand a ghost of a chance, man. Look how quickly they captured their leader Maduro, right? And you got soldiers saying that the weapons that they use, man, incapacitated them and they couldn't do much. Right? In American military, the force that was used, the special forces, was outnumbered 5-1. But they used all those acoustic weapons, those sonic weapons, and they couldn't do anything, man. Right? And I'll see if I could put a video in the post-production on showing you the animation on what they did. See if I can put that video up to the power of Yahawah Shem Shai. But this just proves that we need the Lord, man. We need divine intervention. Hell, you need spiritual power. That's why the scripture says, let me get Revelation, the 6th chapter. Right? This man was blessed with the sword, man. Let's get it. Revelation 6. Right? There's all sorts of, let's read this first. Revelation 6, a classic precept. He said, verse 4. The white host of the Lord. Let's go verse 3. And he went, opened the second seal, and heard the second beast say, come and see. And they went out. Another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereupon to take peace from the earth. Okay? Who's this red horse? This is going into Aisha. Genesis the 27th chapter. Genesis the 25th chapter. Right? Came out red as a hairy garment. Right? It's going into you Edomites. You were blessed with the sword, man. Right? The gun, weapons, technology. As we're going into this lessons, the weapons that he used over there in Venezuela, man. This is his gift, right? He also came up with the with Oppenheimer during the Manhattan Project. They got the Weizmann of teaming, those German scientists and physicists, to come up with the atom bomb, right? And of course, later on, the nuclear bombs, man, the nuclear weapons, right? Now he got all sorts of other weapons, man, all sorts of non-lethal weapons he can use, man. Right? He got all sorts of special guns and tanks that he can cloak and fucking drones. Right? And now brothers bringing out information now, ICE agents, they got some of those weapons as well that they're going to use to control these protests and crowd control. Right? Because we know America's becoming more and more totalitarian, right? A police state. Right? You had another shooting over there. We'll go through that at camp out in Ratazah. But the scripture says, Aisha, he was created to take away peace from the earth, man. That's his job, man. Right? That they should kill one another and they should be giving him a great sword. Right? So peace is not normal to the so-called white man, Aisha. He's always at war, man. Right? The Korean, after World War I, World War II, are the two greatest wars ever fought in history. We're about to enter World War III, right? You had the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, Kosovo, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syrian, right? And now we about to enter the War of Armageddon, man. Because that's his job. He was created to take away peace from the earth, right? Like we said, peace is not normal to these Edomites, man. Now let me get there's plenty of scriptures I have to. We get Second Ezra's, actually going back to the Romans, because this is Rome all over again. Okay, this is the second leg of the Roman Empire. What does the scripture say? Second Ezra chapter 11 about the Romans. Second Ezra, the 11th and 12th chapter is going into the Roman Empire, and of course the 12 feathers is the 12 Caesars, right? from Julius Caesar all the way down to Domitian. But let's read those. Second Ezra 11:40 says, and the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth. So this is going into what? The Roman Empire, right? Let me read up verse 39. Verse 39 and verse 40. Art thou now, this is the lion, the Lord speaking through us, man, saying, art thou not, verse 39, art not thou it that remainest of the four beasts, which you have the four major empires when you go to Daniel, the 7th and the 8th chapter, Daniel, the 2nd chapter, right? The angel breaks it down to him in 2nd Ezra, the 12th chapter, that the fourth beast which you've seen is the same beast which is seen by thy brother Daniel, okay, which is the Roman Empire. But let's read on. It says, art not thou that it that remaineth of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them? And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts, the Roman Empire, right? First is the legs of iron, now is iron mixed with clay, the toes. But it says, but this is going into the Roman Empire, right? It says all the four beasts that were past and had power over the world with great fearfulness. So he overcame all the beasts that were before him. Not on how he ran the earth, right? Because his society was more decadent than the beasts before him, but his military might is far greater, right? And had power over the world with great fearfulness, and over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression, man. And so long time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. Come on, man. Who's that? That's the Edomites, man. The scripture say he ruled the world with wicked oppression and deceit. And he's doing the same thing again, man. The same thing again, man. Right? But he was blessed with that military might. Because let me get Revelation the 16th chapter. And we know the wicked oppression he did, especially to our people. Right? We were being called Christians in Rome. We know about Nero Caesar, which he's back again. Trump, right? Caused all those fires, threw us in the arenas, right? Blamed the downfall of Rome on the Israelites or the Christians, man. And they're about to do the same thing again, right? He got shut down temporarily with the federal troops in the hood, but ISIS on the roll, man. And they coming after the northern kingdom, proving that he's also the modern day Assyrian. But let's get Revelation the 16th chapter. And this is why we're going through this lesson. We need Yahweh Bashem Al-Shah, man. Right? Like we say, he took down a damn, Venezuela had a standing military, man. And they have certain weapons that was given to them by the Russians, and they couldn't do much. Right? That's why let's read Revelation 16:13. It says, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, which the dragon was the Roman Empire. It came back as the beast, NATO and the EU. The head of the beast, or of NATO, we know is America, the whore. But out of the mouth of the beast and out of the mouth of the false prophet. And what are the three unclean spirits? You have the economic policy over there in London, right? You have Rome, the spiritual part. And of course, you have America. America is its sword, man. Right? That's a part of the three unclean spirits, right? The economy, the philosophical, the spiritual, and then you have his military. And that's Babylon the Great, man. Babylon the Great, man. That's why the scripture says in Revelation the 13th chapter, let's go 3 chapters before. Like I said, this is, just going through this lesson to probably Yahweh Bashem Al-Shah. We need Yahweh Bashem Al-Shah, man. And guess what? The same weapons that he used, like we said, ICE got a lot of those weapons now. They using drones and facial recognition and all sorts of thermal imaging just to see people hiding in the homes. Yo, this man, he gonna pull out everything in these last days, man. That's why the scripture says, where was I? I said Revelation the 13th chapter. Let me see else I want to get. Is Daniel 7? Let me see, just to make sure. Okay, so let's get ready here. Let's get Revelation 13. Revelation 13 verse 4, it says, Verse 3, and I saw if his heads were wounded to death. He got wounded. You can read Revelation, the 20th chapter. He fell, but the Lord took that seal off of him. And the scripture says that he would deceive the nations all the way up unto the war of Armageddon, which we're in right now. And his deadly wound was healed, starting from the Renaissance period. And all the world wondered after the beast. Why? Because of his technology, his military might. Now he has influence in the earth, right? And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast from Rome. Like we said, the dragon is a Roman Empire. And the beast is native to EU, and America's the head of it with the whore, right? It says, and of course, we see now his image, right? His democracy, his philosophical, his capitalism, right? Everybody's in awe, or pretty much they enchanted, man, by Aisha, man. And that's what scripture. Anybody that's not written in the book of life, they will take the MOTB, man. They fell for this man's enchantments. That's what scripture said. They worship the beast, right? Saying, who is like unto the beast? Who was able to make war with him? Nobody, man. Nobody, man. Right? That's why the Lord is leading them down. Well, he's going to be taken down by another group of Edomites, the Russians. That scripture says the feet of the bear in verse 2. And ultimately, the Lord is going to come back and subjugate him. Yahweh Shai, man. Right? Let's get Daniel the 7th chapter now. Okay? Let's get that, man. So that's what I read. Who was able to make war with the beast, man? So you Israelites and your we're gonna stock up on guns and weapons, right? We're gonna how you call it, in the time of calamity, which is nothing wrong with having weapons, but that's your salvation don't lie in that, man. Okay, you're gonna need Yahweh B'Shem Yahshua in this time, point blank, period, more than ever. Okay. Like we said, they were outnumbered 5-1, and they made light work of them. See, dudes said they couldn't do much. All right. They were collapsing, passing out, throwing up on themselves. And they went in there and they took Manduro. Look what Israel was doing to Hamas, man. Because they have all sorts of technology used by Planetary, and that's America's money. Because that land of Israel is a welfare state. They send over, $5 billion a year. Okay, our tax-paying dollars. See, look what they did to Hezbollah, man. Quick work of them, man. See, look what they did in Iran. They knew exactly where the Iranian leader was hiding, what bunker he was in. And the only reason why he's still alive today, because they called Trump, and Trump called it off, right? He said, nah, don't take him out, man. But he knew exactly where he was hiding at due to their different satellite images, man. So this man, Aisha, man, like the scripture says, who can make war with him, right? And now you got America now. You got the whole situation going on with Greenland, right? NATO is sending troops, right? This is getting crazy, but it's all in the scriptures. Let's get Daniel the 7th chapter. It says, Daniel chapter 7 verse. Let's read verse 20. All right, we're going to expound on this as well. It says, verse 19, then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful. He was diverse, especially the way he ran his government. Because the Roman Empire, before it was an empire, was a republic. Right? It says, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth was of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. So his military might, he was greater than the beast before. Right? This goes with 2nd Ezra, the 11th and the 12th chapter. Right? That's why I read, who can make war with him? And of the 10 horns which were in his head, of the other which came up, which also goes with the book of Revelation, also Daniel the 2nd chapter, the 10 toes, like we said, the 10 common markets that made up the EU, which they have 12, but it's really 10. Okay? It says, came up before them, 3 fell, which we know that was the Brits, the Spaniards, and the French. Right? America had wars with them. See? And even of that horn, his eyes, which America's also that 8 head, eyes, and of a mouth that spake great things. whose look was more stout than his fellows. And you could see that with Trump, man, that cruel Lord, man. Nero, you could see it, man. More stout, more bold, more proud than his fellow Edomites, man. Now he's talking about attacking the ally. Denmark is a part of NATO. He said, now we need Greenland. We need it. Right? We don't care what you're saying. We're going to take it. He's more stout than his fellows, man. Right? And that scripture says what? And I beheld that same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them. That's why we're in captivity today. Right? That's why we're in captivity today, man. Scriptures also tell you that in Revelation, the 12th chapter. Well, until what? Until the Ancient of Days came. Who? Yahweh, man. That's the Ancient of Days. And who is he going to send back? His son, Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, let me read up to expound on that. Daniel 7. Verse 13. And I saw in the night vision, behold, one like the Son of Man, Yahweh Shai, came with the clouds of heaven, the chariots of the UFOs. And that's how this man gonna be taken down. So who's gonna make war with him? Ultimately, Yahweh Shai is gonna take down the beast, man. The dragon, man. That scripture says, verse 11, I beheld them, the words of the voice of the great words of the horn spake. I beheld till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame, that nuclear destruction and the Lord. Verse 13, and I saw in the night visions, behold, one like the Son of Man, came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And they was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that shall not be destroyed. So when you read down to verse 22, when it says, until the Ancient of Days came, Yahweh's going to send his son, Yahweh Shai, man, to rebuke the wicked inventions of these nations, starting with Aisha and his NWO. And came judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, so that's where we going to get judgment, man. That's where we going to get righteousness, man. All right? It says, and time that the saints should possess the kingdom. Right? But the scripture says that, let me read on further. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth. So this is the last ruling empire before Yahweh shall return, which shall be diverse from all the kingdoms and shall devour the whole earth, man. Right? And we can see why now, because he was blessed with that great sword, man. Our scripture says all the world wondered after the beast, man. They ain't artists, man. Especially what after he did to Nagasaki and Hiroshima after World War II. Right? I think it was Harry Truman. Man, they frightened of this man. Okay? Not anymore now, because they're starting to get those weapons now as well. And the truth says, and shall tread it down and break in pieces. Right? And when you read verse 22, it said how this was going to America, how he subdued the three kings. Like I mentioned before, the Brits, the Spaniards, the French. All right? America became that great nation. Babylon the Great, man. Okay? And the scripture says that he warred against the saints, man. And we waiting on Yahweh Shai to give us to give us the victory, man. Okay? We can't get the victory through no damn guns, man. The Panthers couldn't do it, man. Gad couldn't do it. All right? And Gad had far more military prowess than Esau, but Esau was blessed with the gun. He developed the Gatling gun. Right? He wore them out, man. Put them on reservations. See? Had us in slavery, the laws of Jim Crow, set up the prison system, the hood, drugs, and guns. Wore out the saints of the Most High, man. That's what scripture says in Job, the 24th chapter. I'm going to close this out soon. So we just going into this man blessed with the sword. He's a murderer. He's a thief. And peace is not normal to him. That's what we need, Yahweh B'Shem Shah. That scripture says, Job 24:14. It says, the murderer rising with light killeth the poor, man. And the needy and in the night is as a thief. He's a murderer in the morning. He's a thief at night, man. Right? He does things that you... well, he took down Venezuela in the night. Comes as a thief, man, in the night, man. So he's a murderer and he's a thief, man. And that's what scripture says, verse 13. They are those that rebel against the light. See, He doesn't know the ways of righteousness. They know not the ways thereof, nor abide in the paths thereof. Even though he has the scriptures in his hands, right? He was created to take away peace from the earth, and he was created for the day of evil. We are in the evil time. And who's his main adversary? Jacob, man. You Israelites, man. All right. That's why the scripture says, Revelation, the 12th chapter. Let's get Revelation 12 and 12. Well, 12 and 12 is good. Verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. So he's going to come after us, man. Right? Which kept the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai and Mashiach. On war with us, man. Okay? Scripture says he's going to make war with the remnant of her seed. So how are we going to be delivered? It's through Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, man. Right? And it's like Jeremiah said, if it wasn't for the Lord, our people would have been consumed. Let me jump back to Job 24. Running short on time. Read this. Lamentation 3, verse 22. It is of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. So it was through Yahweh Bashem Yahushua's mercy that this man didn't completely devour us, man. Right? Because there has to be a remnant. There has to be the elect, man. The rest of 2/3, you're going to be given over into this man's hands, man. And what did King David say? Listen, I'd rather be in the hands of the Lord than to be in the hands of man. Right? And you ninjas out there, you going to see terror, man. Okay? This man was blessed with the sword for a reason. He is the devil, man. See, and he's about to showcase that, just like he did in time past with even the Panama conflict. That's another conflict. Or what he did over there in Grenada, the Caribbean. Right? The Panama conflict, there was people saying that this man was using lasers and incinerating people. That's when they first started testing it out back in 1989, man. So how you going to war with something like that carnally? For you dumbass Jakes and your guns. Right? What the Sakari used to talk of that shit. Where they at now, man? Nowhere to be found. Right? Let's jump back to Job 24:24. He says, it's going into the wicked, the murderer, the thief. It's going into Aisha. Verse 24. They are exalted for a little while, but are gone and brought low. They are taken out of the way as all other and cut off as the tops of the ears of the corn. So they exalted for a little while, man. Right? We at this man's end, man. Right? So call him not Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for that, man. See? And we praying Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. He gonna send his son back to deliver us, just like he delivered King David. Right? Then the Lord actually came down with his chariots and delivered King David, man. Let's get that Psalm chapter 18. I'm gonna run through it quick and I have to end it. It says, verse 6, I was in my distress and I called upon Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and cried unto my power. He heard me, my voice out of his temple, and my cry before him, and even into his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundation, similar to Exodus the 19th chapter. When the Most High came down with the chariots, man, reintroduced himself to the children of Israel, the same thing happened. The hills moved and were shaken because he was wroth. They went up a smoke out of his nostrils and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. It was going to the lasers of that concentrated heat from the chariots. He bowed the heavens also and came down in darknesses under his feet, going into the clouds. It says he rode upon a cherub. Scripture says he makes his clouds his chariots. And did fly, yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. So this is going into the UFOs, what Aisha calls the UAPs. He made darkness a secret place, and his pavilion round about him were dark waters, going into the heavens of Shemayim, and thick clouds of the sky. And at the brightness was before him, his thick clouds passed, and hailstones and coals of fire. Right? Like you see them, I forgot what you call it, but it's like they gather up energy and they hit them with that plasma laser. They show them movies. Right? This is what Yahweh Bashem Yahushua was doing. Because King David was surrounded, he's pretty much done. Right? And he said, what? This is the point I want to get out soon. Then Yahweh Bashem Yahushua also thundered the heavens, and the highest gave his voice, and hailstones and coals of fire. We said that concentrated heat. Yea, he sent out his arrows and scattered them, and he shot out lightnings and discomforted them. Right? Then the channels of water were seen, and the foundation of the earth were discovered at thy rebuke. So the Lord was pissed off when he came down, man. So earthquakes, the water, everything was all shaken up, man. Okay, let me read on. Right, it says the foundation of the hills, everything was moved. That's exactly going to be when Yahweh Shai returned. Right, the scripture says, the day of the Lord is darkness and not light. The chariot's going to block out the heavens. It says, were discovered at thy rebuke, O Yahweh Shem Shai, the blast of the breath of thy nostrils. He sent from above. He took me. He drew me out of many waters, because he was surrounded. Right, because we know deep waters, he's supposed to drown in deep waters, man. But Yahweh Shem Shai rescued him, right, in that hard or that difficult time where his life was on the line. He delivered me from my strong, this is the point. He delivered me from my strong enemy and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me, man. Right? They were too strong. That's Aisha. With his weapons, we can't beat this man, man. And the scripture says no one can make war with him. Right? So that's verse 9. So I'm going to close it out. He brought me forth also in a large place. He delivered me because he delighted in me, man. Call him Yahweh Shem Shai, man. And the house of David going to be delivered, man. Right? So with that, I'd like to say, Kol Yahweh Shem Shai. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. With that, I'd like to say, Shalom.